Welcome back to the InherAlchemist TV. In today's video, we're going to be completing episode 1 of our Real Moms of Love and Marriage Huntsville series, where Miss Betty Steele is the protagonist of this reading. So before we get started, I really need you to like this video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I still have a lot of people that are not subscribed, that come to the channel regularly, visit, comment, but don't subscribe. So please make sure you do that. Also turn your notification bells on. I have some really creative readings, holistic tarot readings that are going to be just, I think, really eye-opening, not only for the subject of the reading, but for all who hear and listen, which is you guys, right? I always tell you, I'm here for you. I'm here for you, meaning the hearer, the listener, the person, right? So I'm going to jump right in. I really want to jump right in. So the reading is opening up with the situation at hand. If there is one, if it doesn't represent a situation, it can represent a person, simply because it's the King of Pentacles and he represents a person. Now, although tarot cards are genderless technically, energetically, a woman could be a man or a man can be a woman. Energetically, it's just masculine, feminine energy. And this is a masculine energy. The King of Pentacles, he can sometimes have like this military background or be militant in the way that they move. And this is showing me that Miss Betty Steele, she has this inner fortitude, or she has this power about her that is unmatched, from a perspective of her being able to take full command of situations, whether that be in family, whether that be in business, etc. She just has that gift. She has that gift of not being challenged in a lot of ways. Now, the flip side of it is that Miss Betty is also coming in as a caregiver or provider. Now, she does have the Hermit card here, with the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. This is in the recent past, so I don't know if she had to care for maybe her grandmother or elders in the family, or it could be something like that. Or she could just have that, that situation where young people are brought into roles of being an adult faster than what they are. She could have been groomed into a caretaker role since she was very young, by chance. Now, the King of Pentacles with this Eight of Cups in reverse could also indicate maybe a man or an issue with like alcohol. I don't know if that's her or a father figure or anybody, or just something that runs in the family with alcoholism. I have both the Eight of Cups in reverse and the Seven of Cups. So these are cards of addiction or gambling. I don't know. Maybe they just go to the casino. It doesn't even have to be as deep as alcoholism, because I don't show anything overly toxic in this reading. It just could say that this has been a part of their lifestyle. And usually through celebrations. It looks like a lot of this stuff happens through celebrations. Now, it's interesting. The Page of Pentacles is here, which is the child, and I'm taking maybe this is Stormy, but then that's coupled with that Seven of Cups and crown and going above this Eight of Cups, and that's why I was thinking, like, I don't know if Stormy grew up with a parent or an environment where there was a lot of drinking. I remember I was reading this one book, and it was saying that like children of alcoholic parents develop develop like compulsive stealing. And it's saying like they steal things not because they need it, but because it gives them like a sense of power and mastery over an environment that's otherwise chaotic, because they're dealing with alcoholic parents. And so I remember growing up with girls around me, right? And they had their mothers, right? Their mothers were there, but both of them had alcoholic mothers. So my one girlfriend who I was really close with, I never even knew her mother was an alcoholic, because that's not something that she shared with me. But I found out through her boyfriend, because he would get into it with her, and then he would throw things like that in her face, like, man, shut your ass up with your alcoholic mama. Say something real mean like that. And I would just be like looking to the side eye like, huh? You know what I mean? Because this is something that I didn't know, and I have been friends with her longer than she had been with the guy. And so, but there was one time also where her mom, she got real drunk and she called me in the middle of the night and she started spewing to me all these things that her daughter was saying about me and conversations that they had. And I was like, I don't want to say upset, but I felt betrayed. Because this is the second time that happened to me in life. And the other time it happened was one of my girlfriends. I was using her computer and she had this email, and in the subject line, she had my name in the subject line, and the email was going back and forth with her and her mother. And I was like, why the hell would you and your mama be having an email? Like, not even a conversation, but why would y'all be emailing about me? I was totally confused by that. And then, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, it's normal. Mothers and daughters, they talk about people together, or, maybe a daughter might talk to her mother about something her friend did, or maybe some mothers, they get jealous of the relationships that their daughters have with other people. Like when she has a best friend or she has someone that she's deriving a lot of joy from. Like in that first instance, me and my best friend were really tight, and her mother, I don't know, maybe she was like friends with me or wanted to be around me so much because she was trying to avoid being around her mother because she was drinking. It could be something like that, right? But her mother was always, she was always kind of like, I don't want to say come in between us, because if me and the daughter were involving the mother, like all going out to eat or something, she would be cool. But when me and the daughter would go by ourselves, she would get weird, right? So when she called me that night and she was like talking hella shit, like telling all my business and stuff, and I was like, what the hell? I'm like, maybe that's something that she was just holding back, or some type of like feelings that she had been holding back. But also I felt like it was secret feelings that my best friend at the time was harboring against me, that she wasn't telling me, but that she was telling her mother. And then she was telling her mother, she wasn't telling her mother the full story. Like, she was telling her mother like all of my business, but then she wasn't really telling none of her business, and she was actually worse off than me. So it was interesting because I'm like, damn, like in a way she was like throwing me under the bus to her mother, but her mother had no clue like the shit that she was into or the shit that she was going through. You know what I mean? So that shit kind of caught me off guard. But at the same time, I didn't realize they had so much dysfunction going on between them and their household and their relationship either. So for me, having somewhat of a strained relationship with my mother, what I will say is that it gave me unrealistic expectations when it comes to loyalty and friendship. And realizing too that your friends are just your friends, and your family is really who you really need to stay tight with. You know what I mean? Because I guess friends come and go. But for me, I sometimes felt like not like friends were family, but I had friends who I treated as family, or didn't treat differently from family, or didn't run certain boundaries based on the fact that these people are not your family. You know what I mean? And so when they would do things that were like disappointing, for me, it hit me harder because of the expectations that I had, that they carry a familial type of loyalty, and they didn't. They were friends. You know what I mean? They were friends. And apparently there's a difference. But you guys let me know. What do you think? Do you think friendships and families have different standards of loyalty? Is there a different standard of loyalty? But I know, like, when I got older, I was able to understand those relationships better. You know what I mean? I'm just like, my mom passed, and I looked at things through that lens. But then I look at my girlfriends, and some of them just wish their moms would go away. And I didn't understand it because here I was without one, but they were in these situations where their moms were like getting into it, like getting in their business with their boyfriends and their children's, and using their daughters to bring money to them from men, overbearing, just some real messed up relationships, to make you really understand why somebody would like go days and weeks and months without talking to their mother. You know what I mean? And then they bring that energy into a friendship where you know what I mean, where you become a surrogate mother or a surrogate friend based on them trying to maintain some type of distance with their own mother. Maybe they're not speaking, all kind of toxic shit going on. And so I learned all these things. I learned a lot of this stuff as an observer. So anyways, this King of Pentacles is about her have been like a caretaker or a provider. My mother-in-law is, well, one of them. I call my children's grandmother my mother-in-law. She was a caretaker, you know what I mean? Very reliable, very stable, very sound, but at the same time, she used to cope. She used to cope with that role by drinking, you know what I mean? Yeah, so it happens. But anyways, I say that to say that Stormy's mother is a person who's in control or has like a high rank or has some level of control. And the way that she has wielded that control has been in a very militant, maybe non-emotional way. Even though she could have been very emotional with this Eight of Cups, or it's almost giving me the vibe that she has always been more emotionally invested and emotionally affected than people give her credit for, because she wears a strong militant front. That could be something like that, where she could be misunderstood in some ways because of how she appears, right? This Eight of Cups in reverse with the King of Pentacles, to me, represents a celebration of material wealth. It represents, maybe she's looking for a home. She could be looking for a house, maybe. The Five of Cups is here. I wouldn't say she might, I don't know, maybe she wants to go back home. There could be something like that involved too. But sometimes the Eight of Cups, he's looking for a house, like literally, or wondering where they want to set down, where they want to set up their roots. But there's also a feeling of her just drifting, and her maybe looking for a sense of purpose outside of these caretaker roles that she has normally had. You know, as much as my mother-in-law wanted relief from caring for her elderly mother who passed away, like she wanted relief because she wanted people to help her, and she just wanted a weekend off and things like that. But I feel also that when the mother finally passed at a very old age, that she didn't really know what to do next. You know what I mean? And I think that can also maybe contribute to, I don't know, I don't want to say addictions, but like drinking or something like that. But it was like her purpose was in taking care of something, and she didn't have that anymore, right? So with this Eight of Cups in reverse, it's kind of giving me that vibe of somebody drifting or feeling like they have no particular goal for themselves or no vision for what it is that they truly want. I feel like they definitely enjoying an increase. Definitely prosperity is all around it, right? We know that, right? We know Stormy's a millionaire. Big ups to Stormy still, right? Making history. Herstory. She's in the books. She's making history. And I feel like that's some good shit. That is some good shit. You know what I mean? How lucky is she? But anyways, I feel like, so even though the mother may be benefiting in that way materially, and it looks like it's a long way up from where she was, because in the background I see this Six of Pentacles here, and it's reminding me of like government help. So I don't know if they were on welfare when they were younger, but because I'm finding in a way she also struggling with the material aspect of it all, right? I don't want to go too far in advance though, but just looking at the overview of the spread, I feel like it's like a situation. It's like money just doesn't solve everything. You know what I mean? We look at people with money and think they have no problems, and that's just not the case all the time, right? Anyways, Betty still, Miss Betty's planted some good seeds, maybe in Stormy, because the page is there, and she is watching the fruit of her labor, the fruit of some good things that she's done in her life that have allowed her to maybe single-handedly push her family forward just by seeds that she's planted. You know what I mean? She's tired. She's tired. And she wants to settle down somewhere. I feel like maybe she's seen the world. What they say, been around the world and I. She maybe seen enough. I'm getting a vibe of a person who's seen enough and just wants a place to call home. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I don't know if that's her desiring to go back to where they originally lived, or maybe even her just wondering what is home to me, what feels good to me, because I feel like there's like a sense of emptiness attached to these finances or attached to this material security. I'm getting like a sense of emptiness inside. You know what I mean? Now, what's moving in the background, like I mentioned, is not only the Six of Pentacles, which is about charity, or it's about, again, caretaking, alms, having to do for people. So I don't know if this was a situation where maybe she had to seek help or seek assistance, and with them going from the King of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles moving in the background to her now being the King of Pentacles, in my mind is giving me a vibe like somebody who is having a hard time adapting mentally to wealth. There's like a poverty mindset or a lack mindset or a lack mentality or a poverty consciousness that makes having money feel empty to her. But I'm feeling like it's more of like a spiritual poverty. You know what I mean? And then there's like energy of like hoarding later on. I didn't want to mention that too soon, but I'm feeling like even with this hoarding energy, maybe the piling on or the having more and more and more is feeling some type of internal emptiness or loneliness that is deriving from a poverty mindset. You know what I mean? So yeah, there could be some hoarding tendencies, but we'll get there when we get there, because that's in a near future position. I don't know, just something miserly, but we'll get to it. For right now, we're on the Six of Pentacles though, and the Five of Cups is here in reverse. Yeah, these are, I feel like this is her having some type of deep wounds based on maybe how she was treated when she found herself in need. With the Six of Pentacles, I'm looking at it as herself having been in need at a time, and maybe she didn't have anywhere to go, or maybe she's like the type of person that takes care of everybody else, and then when they need help, they have nowhere to go, they have nowhere to get their own answers from. I don't know if I think I mentioned that before. I don't know if I have, but it's like an energy of you help everybody, but nobody's there to help you. You know what I mean? Or because you have the answers, nobody's there to help you or thinks you need help or something like that. They just leave it to you. And I feel like at some point she was really struggling. You know? Now, I feel like this could also be something. I feel like this is a deep wound that she's holding that she's never going to get over. And I feel like with that King energy, I feel like that almost reinforces the stability of this wound. Not that that's a good thing. We definitely don't want that. Definitely get some emotional healing. Alchemizer. You know what I mean? Well, the thing about it, emotional healing, is that you feel like you're going to spray it and then you're going to breathe it and then you're going to run off and you're going to be happy. And what it does instead is it brings all of the emotional issues that are repressing you up to the surface. So the immediate feeling is going to be discomfort at the flood of emotions coming to you. But the release of that is what promotes growth, right? It takes rain and sun to grow, right? The release of that pent up energy, that pent up emptiness, in her case, I think it's emptiness, but it's looking like it's from a loss. Now, this could be a parent. Now, let's just entertain the other possibility, because we do have the Hermit here, we have the King of Pentacles here. This could be the Five of Cups. So this could be technically her having lost a parent and her never having gotten over it. It could be that as well, whether it's a male parent or a female parent. whatever the loss is, this is like a deep pain or whatever, right? But I think the loss has to do with this Six of Pentacles, has to do with a time in her life where she needed something. You know what I mean? The Six of Pentacles is about charity. And when you have that Five of Cups there, it's making me feel like, especially with you coming into the King of Pentacles and then this Eight of Cups in reverse, the Eight of Cups in reverse is like you celebrating a certain amount of material prosperity and success in the end of bad times. And then when I look in the unconscious energy that's moving that, I'm looking at the Six of Pentacles. This is charity, government assistance, right? Possibly extending from poverty or a tough time, which led to the poverty mindset that's making you uncomfortable with money or giving you a sense of not enough or never satisfied. But again, it has to do with that spiritual poverty, right? I feel like there's a lot of generosity that people are trying to bring to her, but maybe she can't even accept it in a way, you know. I feel like there's something of like a closed, there's almost like she has a closed heart, or she's closed to some things that she needs to be open to. You know what I mean? Opening up her energy, opening up her heart to make life a more enjoyable experience for her. You know what I mean? Because there's benefits. There's like people who are like showing love, trying to give her a gift, trying to help her. But then there's a sense of her not fully enjoying it, or not fully like stepping into the moment, should I say. You know what I mean? Or it's not, I don't know, maybe people feel like she doesn't appreciate it, which I don't think that's the case. I feel like she just is internally, I don't know, maybe she's holding on to something though, some type of wounding, right? Let's move forward in the spread. I told you guys that Hermit card was there in the recent past. I think that represents an older, I don't know, maybe like an older mother figure, right? Or maybe this could even be an ode to the relationship that she had with her own mother, which is maybe Stormy's grandmother. Now, either this could be her or this could be her mother, but this is like when the Queen of Pentacles is in reverse with this Hermit card, this is like someone having been overly dependent on someone else. And maybe there was a time where like Stormy's mother didn't have it, whether it was she may have been struggling emotionally. If they weren't on government assistance from a financial perspective, because finances, like I said, were good, right? We talked about the King of Pentacles. If it wasn't financial, with this Six of Pentacles representing like help, charity, and the Five of Cups representing loss, emotion, things like that, it could have been that she's been struggling with a deep wound or some pain from something, and that like that she couldn't get the help or something like that. She was struggling emotionally, possibly, with this Six of Pentacles and this Five of Cups. Anyways, with this Queen of Pentacles in reverse and this Hermit card, this represents an older mother figure that was dependent on her. So maybe she had to take care of her parents as opposed to the other way around. I don't know if this is when she was a child or whatever, but this is her having maybe a mother figure that was not completely self-sufficient, and had some otherwise vulnerabilities, whether that be to old age or etc. Betty, she herself may have suffered with like shyness over asking for help, or that may be why she developed that, because she has there's something militant about her, but it could have been to protect some type of vulnerability or shyness. And that shyness could be about maybe expressing her need for some type of emotional help. It could be something like that too, when I look at all of it together. She has an insecurity as well though. Or there's something about her that feels indebted to others, or I don't know. Maybe she feels like she owes people something. There was maybe something, a decision that she made due to like self-preservation. Maybe she in earlier times abandoned something or left home early or something like that. And maybe she left a family that was in need and now she feels indebted to them. It could be something like that. But it looks like for some reason, it looks like people have depended on her for financial sustenance, like to sustain. Or older people in her family have looked at her to help them sustain, maybe. But I feel like there were certain decisions that she had to make that had to do with like her trying to save herself. Or like I said, self-preserve. That's the number one rule of life, self-preservation. You know what I mean? Now, I believe this Page of Pentacles, which is coming in like the current energy or the crowning energy, I believe that's Stormy. The Page of Pentacles is a realistic person. You know what I mean? First and foremost. Maybe cautious. I don't want to say cautious out of fear, but there's something about Stormy that she's trying to do things very carefully now. And she's trying to be steadfast. She's coming in as very loyal. Very curious too. I feel like Stormy is a researcher. I feel like she likes to, you know what? Didn't y'all tell me she was a Leo? I got the Sun card here too on the bottom of the deck. That's Leo energy. But if she is a Leo, you know, Leos are researchers to the point of stalking for the sake of research, if that makes any sense. Now, I've only known them to stalk their lovers and maybe the girl who's trying to interfere on their shit, but I also have known them to be able to be like good ass researchers in terms of figuring out how to do things, learning about things, mastering things. Therefore Leo goes in my list of zodiac stalkers. Leo, Scorpio, Capricorn, Taurus. That's crazy because I think Capricorn is a cardinal sign. I don't think it's fixed, but those are mostly like the fixed signs in a way. But I feel like it's more of like an intellectual pursuit from the perspective of she wants to know everything about something. And she knows how to apply common sense to data gathering or information. Maybe that's the key to her success, is that she is thorough. You know what I mean? And then she can learn. She likes to take classes, or I don't know, maybe she'll be teaching classes. I don't know. No, she's a page though in this spread, so you'll have to be more mature to teach, but it's possible that it could come up in the future. You know what I mean? But I definitely see this as her having been a child or a person, should I say, who researches things and gets a lot of information and organizes it well due to common sense. Definitely somebody loyal. But then there's this Seven of Cups here. I feel, and then it's clarified by the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. I feel like there's the Seven of Cups. This is about, and I think we talked about this. No, I think Kenya Moore had the same card, but I want to say hers was in advance, because I find this to be an interesting card to come up in Stormy's reading, especially with the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, because it's almost telling me like her mom, I don't want to say her mom has a fear, because her mom there's no fear in her spread. She's fearless. She has her issues. Fear ain't one of them. But she is concerned about Stormy going back down a wayward path. Like maybe she's liking like this studious, what do you call it when you can pay attention? Concentrated energy, productive energy of Stormy. She recognizes and likes that, but with this Seven of Cups and this Wheel of Fortune, it's like saying that temptation can take you back. You know what I mean? Back down to some road that Stormy has been in the past. And it had to do with temptations, and it had to do with not being on a righteous spiritual thing. You know what I mean? Or doing things the correct way from a spiritual perspective. I don't feel like Stormy was necessarily naive, but sometimes the Seven of Cups is like her being like tempted or disillusioned by somebody. You know what I mean? So maybe she fell for something where somebody sold her a dream one time and it ended her down the wrong path or something like that. Maybe she's concerned that if too much is going on around her, it'll regress her back into this time. You know what I mean? I guess I want to say like a time of sin. I don't know how else to say it because I don't have any judgment. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's a time where sin ruled your life with this Seven of Cups, because Seven of Cups is like synonymous with the 7 deadly sins. But it also represents things like anger and resentment and vengeance, and maybe this representing part of Stormy's dark side. You know, maybe she does have, you know, those qualities in her. I haven't done her reading yet, and I'll get to it. But there was like something where she wasn't vibrating in the highest spiritual energy, and at that time maybe she was like I said, angry person, or dark, or had that darkness in her. And now she's been able to like recalibrate that energy and focus it on something that's giving her more pleasure. But because of all of these like vices, maybe some drinking, maybe Stormy's drinking right now, because remember I talked about alcohol with the 8 of Cups in reverse and the 7 of Cups. But there looks like some feeling that things are going to spiral out of control and do like is it a 360? Not 180 is when 360 when you go all the way back downhill. You know what I mean? Because of too many temptations from pretty much the devil. Shit, the 7 of Cups, that's like options, temptations. Now, like I said, they're the only negative, not even negative, because the Tower is here, but even the Tower is not a negative omen, but it is here. But I'm feeling like there's not any cross conditions on their family. You know what I mean? But there is a lot of stuck energy from emotional pain that people are not able to let go of. And that's why you get things like inner child healing, forgiveness, right? Those things like deep trauma of those natures, those literally recalibrate your brain. Literally. The chemistry of your brain changes through trauma, through emotional trauma. And again, that's why alchemizer water, it's not water. I call it water. There's no water in it. It's an alchemical fluid. But mixed with the plant herbs and oils, it helps to recalibrate your brain chemistry to produce that healing, especially when you're stuck. Definitely. Because I've been stuck. But you know what? My stuck was different. My stuck was me keeping up a lot of chaos because I didn't want to sit with uncomfortable feelings like grief, you know what I mean, or anger. Yeah, like I had like anger, yeah, you know, over different things, right? But again, they have to come up and come out in order for you to get past them. And if you're afraid, and I was afraid for a long time, I'm not gonna lie. I used to compartmentalize my pain to keep from feeling it because I just didn't have the room to feel things until I got done raising my kids. Now, when my kids got older, and that's when I started my spiritual journey, and that's when I started letting myself feel pain and dealing with some upsets and things that I was having because I didn't want to go that deep. I managed myself through, you know, therapy, parenting class, different things that I did. You know how you join all these different groups because you're trying to get your maternity leave extended. I was that girl, right? So that's how I ended up in all these different groups. But I learned a lot, you know what I mean, about women, about parenting, codependency, weight. I took every class that they would let me in so I could prolong my maternity leave. So that's how I got really deep into it. And it was just so interesting and wholesome. You know what I mean? It was interesting and wholesome. But what was I trying to say? Damn, I really forgot what I was trying to say. It'll come back to me. I'm sure it'll come back to me. Damn, I hate when I forget my point though. But anyways, the point that I was trying to make about this 7 of Cups though is that to me it's representing like a temptation. And I don't want to say maybe a fast life, but maybe like there's too much of a good thing. And maybe there's some fear that this could cause some type of relapse. And whether it's behavior, drinking, rage, anger, I feel like there's fear of some type of relapse. You know what I mean? Now, what that relapse is about, I can't pinpoint. Now, like I said, in this recent future, I saw that Four of Pentacles. Really curious about it because that's like a very selfish, closed energy. You know, it could be just simply somebody being cheap, being stingy, being selfish, like just on a material level. But this card ain't really all that materialistic. I mean, we have the King of Pentacles here, you know, so we know what that's about. But it's not like this card is about greed or money. You know, as fortunate as what's her name, Stormy, is, I don't necessarily think money is her focus. It might just be something she has a knack for. But I don't feel that getting rich was ever her objective, if that makes any sense. Maybe it's just a byproduct. And that's how it happens, right? It's like when you chase money, it runs from you. But when you chase your passion, money comes. And it looks like with Stormy, she was like learning, getting immersed into things, and then the money came. At least that looks like how it happened for her. Anyways, let's talk about it though. We have the Empress in reverse. This is what do they call it? I think one of my psychology tarot books call it the devouring mother. You know, and I read about that when I was studying the anima, which is the inner woman of a man, and the animus, which is the inner man of a woman. And I got down that rabbit hole with Carl Jung when I was reading the psychological tarot, and it was talking about suicide ideation, and it was talking about how to cure that, and like basically going celibate and allowing, you know, your inner opposite sex to emerge fully. And I don't know, matter of fact, I'm thinking like, why does having sex keep your inner opposite from emerging? Maybe because, I don't know, there's a lot to the chemistry of sex and the purpose of it. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that one day. I have some thoughts I would like to share. But anyways, Empress in reverse, she smothers. And this is making me wonder again, because she has that sense of emptiness, but at the same time she has this smothering energy, and like I said, I wonder if this is just her taking on more, trying to be present, because I don't know, maybe she has empty nest syndrome. Maybe she should, you know what she should do though? She should adopt some kids or get some foster kids. Like, I find that to be very, very healing for older people. Even if you do something called respite care, which is where you have different kids come in for a couple months or days at a time when the mother gets incarcerated or she goes to drug rehab, or, you know, and you don't have to have it as a permanent deal, but you can do some caretaking, because I feel like caretaking is in her DNA. It shouldn't be. I mean, but the Queen of Pentacles, that's a caretaker. Empress is a caretaker, even though both of those cards are in reverse. And then she has the King of Pentacles. That's a caretaker, that's a provider and a caretaker on all fronts. You know what I mean? But I just find that having foster children or having adopted children, I mean, I know she has her little grandbaby, but maybe she wants another kid in her own home. You know what I mean? Just like, have you guys heard of like doll therapy for dementia patients? I have an uncle who was going through, I guess, early stages of dementia, and they were saying like getting one of those hyper realistic dolls. You know, those dolls that cost like $200. They look super scary to me, but they're hyper realistic. It's like a good therapy for them. You know what I mean? For those of you guys who are maybe caretaking parents that have dementia, you know, sharing that information. But anyways, this Empress is a smother mother or a very demanding. Maybe she's very demanding. Yeah, Empress in reverse, Queen of Pentacles in reverse, King of Pentacles, Four of Pentacles. Yeah, she's very demanding, but I feel like that demandingness comes from emptiness inside. Again, her energy is very restricted. Very restricted. Maybe in a way, I don't want to say she didn't want to have a child, but maybe she didn't know. There's something around the birth of Stormy. I ain't gonna say she wasn't supposed to be here, but maybe at a time she thought she wouldn't have kids, or maybe there was something where, or she tried hard. Maybe there was something where she didn't think she would have kids, or she wasn't supposed to have this one, but it looks like something happened around the time or surrounding her pregnancy or birth with Stormy. Or maybe Stormy was a rainbow child. She could have lost a child before and then Stormy came. It could be something like that too. Definitely. But I feel like with her coming in as the Empress in reverse, maybe that's why she's so protective of Stormy. Maybe there's some loss involved. You know what I mean? But with her coming in as the Empress in reverse, there's a feeling of her feeling useless right now. Maybe she feels like Stormy doesn't need her, and it's making her freak out a little bit. But again, that's that empty nest syndrome, right? And that's that need to be needed that I talked about. Even though I talked about it in a relationship context, I don't know. That's just me. You know what I mean? Call it the maternal energy of me. But I really like to be something to the person that I'm with. You know what I mean? I like to be an essential element. But just on a mental plane, I like out of sight of the mind. I like a man with his own life to do his own thing, but I like to be very intimately and emotionally connected based on, what do they call it? Not codependency, but interdependency. Like, I like, like, man, like, have you ever been in a relationship where it was like full and total transparency from your part? Because sometimes I've been in a situation where I've given that and the other person didn't, but that relationship wasn't meant to be permanent. That relationship was to teach me how to give it. You know what I mean? And so you take that lesson and you celebrate the passing of the test for you. You don't mourn the loss of a relationship that was never to be because it was one-sided. And it was one-sided because you were meant to test and stretch certain parts of yourself. And I'm not talking about doing something blindly because you weak for a man or have low self-esteem. I'm tired of those tropes anyway. I'm tired of the stereotypical stigma type shit. Every time a woman makes a bad decision, it's because of no, it's not always self-esteem. It's not. It's sometimes certain things that you're put on this earth to go through. Period. And it's going to come one way or another. And sometimes it comes through relationships. Depending on where your Saturn is in your birth chart, you can find out where you're going to have your toughest time in life, period, right? Now, on the flip side, the Empress could represent like an issue with the thyroid too, though. And then we do have the Four of Swords here. That's coming in as her. Sometimes the Four of Swords is a card of illness, but it is clarified by the Eight of Pentacles, which is in reverse. And I simply just took this as her being retired, not working, or laid off. With this Eight of Cups coming in at the beginning of the reading, this is a celebration of a cycle completed. So maybe she's retiring, or maybe she had a retirement party, or she's no longer working or something like that, because that's what the Eight of Pentacles is, like a layoff or a lack of employment, but the Four of Swords is resting. And I think that this is a job well done. So could be that she retired. I don't know. Could be something like that. But it definitely looks like some type of celebration, though. I will say that. But yeah, so her Empress is in reverse. And I feel like there was like something maybe even like her parenting style. It is smothering, right? But I wonder if this is to overcompensate from an internal detachment that she has, or her, like I said, she could have lost a child because there's like some type of severance or detachment. I don't know if this is just in her soul, where she's like where she came in as a mother who was very detached, and now she makes up for that by being like super available and present, or smothering. Could be something like that. But whatever it is, I feel like there's some strain there, and I feel like there's, I don't know, there's some times where she may have done stuff, or she does stuff to get attention, maybe from Stormy, or maybe people have done things to get attention from her. But there's something of an attention seeking behavior. Now, I don't know if this was from her own mother. This could be their relationship which she had growing up. You know, some people, I don't know, like some people fake illnesses to get attention. What they call it, Munchausen. You know, I know a woman who pretended her car was broke down for years just so that she could have to depend on her daughter for rides, and it was like a $30 car problem. I've dated a guy who I told I just wanted some space from. Like, I just want to sleep by myself. Just give me a couple days. This fool called me talking about he in the hospital, then he disappeared, and he was not in no damn hospital, but just to get attention. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's some, or maybe, oh, it could be Stormy though. Maybe because Stormy, wait a minute, what am I thinking? Because if she's coming in as kind of like detached, maybe Stormy did things to get attention. And maybe some of those things had to do with drinking, gambling, living fast at some point. Maybe her mother didn't recognize her achievements with that Page of Pentacles and that Seven of Cups. And maybe Stormy used to be bad. But she used to do it to get attention because her mom was detached or cold or something like that. Or it could be definitely something like that for sure. But I think that feeling has to do with some type of loss. Now, I don't know if that's a loss of a relationship, loss of an actual child, or like I said, because there seems to be something around childbirth at the same time. Anyway, so the Four of Pentacles is here too. This is to me still about her having that spiritual poverty, or her attitude. The way her attitude is just not open and free. You know what I mean? Which gives it that sense of, I don't know, it's just off-putting, or like closed off or guarded, or maybe she gets charged with being selfish or not. She's not selfish. She's actually really emotional. But her emotions are debilitated because she had to hold it together, maybe. Even though she was like struggling with things herself. You know what I mean? I feel like her mom is good with money though. Maybe her mom is the one who organizes the money. Her mom seems to have a gift with the Four of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. This is somebody who maybe is not wasteful. You know what I mean? Maybe who encourages a little modesty, not going too far off. Maybe that's why that Seven of Cups is there. Maybe she's telling Stormy, like, stop doing all this waste. You're doing too much. You're spending too much. You know what I mean? Because she likes to save her money. Because I don't know, with the King of Pentacles and the Four of Pentacles, this is a saver, or somebody who tries to. But I feel like, again, this is still closed energy, because you know, like when you get broke and you start to like penny pinch, money doesn't flow as easily, so it's harder to earn. But if you keep an open attitude towards money, you allow it to flow in and out. And her mom, I feel like she don't allow things to flow in and out. Like, she's more of a control type of person. At least that's what I'm getting from it. I feel like she might be getting to a point in her life with this Four of Swords and this Four of Pentacles. Maybe she's getting to a point in her life where she's starting to reflect spiritually. You know what I mean? Maybe this Four of Swords, now it could be retirement. Now it could be that retirement have led her to the point of being able to reflect. I know at work, sometimes, like a lot of the women, right after they retire, they pass on. Because they're not balancing material and spiritual. You know, I'm not saying that's the reason somebody passes on per se. I'm saying that they run themselves into the ground for their ambitions, for the money, for the company, to have more, to get a bigger house, to show off to somebody, but you ain't never got time to be there because you got to travel 2 hours to work, 2 hours home, spend a day there, change your attitude, get on antidepressants. I mean, the life of older, successful black women is daunting to me sometimes. I'm more leisurely just because I'm just bohemian, free spirit, you know. I'm a tree hugger. I'm very much a tree hugger. But I don't keep stress. I don't have stress. I know that sounds weird. Everybody got stress, and it's like, not everybody. I'm not saying I haven't had it or I'm opposed to it. I'm saying I have a different approach to life. You know what I mean? Which does not include hoarding or holding on to feelings. You know what I mean? I spent a lot of my life holding on, replaying conversations in my head. I should have said this. I should have did. No. Them days are over. We deal with things in real time. Because I've exposed myself to pain. Like I said, after the kids grew up, I started to allow that flood of emotion, anger. I started to allow it to come up. And I was tight. Like, talk about road rage. I drove with the windows up because I used to cussing so much. Just cussing and fussing. You know what I mean? But just tight. You know? And I'm just so thankful that I allowed myself to go through that. And it was horrible. It was dark. But it was so worth it. It's so worth it. And now I just live like that. It's cool, you know, but I have peace, you know what I mean? But anyways, I feel like even though everything is good, I feel for the most part though that maybe Miss Betty still is still adjusting to this new money. I don't feel like it was always like that for her. You know what I mean? Things were not always fortunate for her, but I feel like she's bringing that poverty mindset, that miserliness, that sense of loss. Like I said, could be charity, or, you know, I feel like she's bringing that same attitude to the nouveau riche, and it's hard to balance that. You know, I say, like with Stormy, the character, not her, because I don't know her, right? But the character she's portraying on the show is of the nouveau riche trope. And the person who's bringing them hard edges to this so-called group of, you know, older accomplished people, but she's coming with the bag, but the bag is attached to all that poverty mindset, that lack mentality that has to show people, that has to feel that they can dominate with money. You know what I mean? Like I'm above this or I'm above that. Now, I'm not saying that's a real attitude or feeling about her, because I don't believe that about Stormy, because that's not what's showing in this spread. But she's still allowing herself to be portrayed that way. You know what I mean? For whatever reason. Now, again, ironically, with you playing that role, the reality is that you have a mother who actually does have a poverty mindset, but you're on the show displaying one. You know what I mean? How ironic is that? You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe there was some financial instability at one point, but there's not anymore. Let me hurry up. I don't know. See, and this, I know I'm spending time on these readings because that was my choice to do. But at the same time, I'm like almost like an hour in. Like, what have I been talking about this whole time? Let me know if you guys are enjoying the reading. If you guys are enjoying the longer style reading, because that's the kind of mood that I'm in. That's really how I'm feeling things right now. And I think it's a good feeling. So let me know how you guys feel about the length of this reading, because it is a time investment, right? And I want to be careful with that. Anyways, I do have the Chariot here. The Chariot is in reverse. I really like the Chariot. I don't know why I never pull it in reading, so I'm surprised to see it here, but I like the Chariot. However, the Chariot is in reverse, and this is like saying there's something that Betty needs to reconsider. I don't know. I think it's in regards to the Ace of Swords is here. I always think of an Ace of Swords as a conversation, or maybe there's like, yeah, the truth. Maybe she should reconsider talking about something. There's something that she wants to address, maybe with someone. I don't know. But whatever it is, this is still, with the Chariot in reverse, this is still her not being able to fully enjoy a sense of success or freedom. Like, she's too careful. She's too stuck. You know what I mean? Too stuck. I feel like she's like clogged up. Right? I'm not going to put a sexual connotation on that, because I respect my elders. Even though we probably not that many years apart, but I still respect women that are older than me by the work that they put into this life. But I think you clogged up. I'm gonna just have to say that. I really do think that you're clogged up. I think it's time to, get your feet wet a little bit. And if not your feet, then your culotta. It's time to get it wet. Hey, don't shoot the messenger, okay? Don't shoot the messenger. Okay, so I talked earlier about that tower card. And you know what? I want to tell you guys a story real quick about the tower card, because people always want to act like tarot is so demonic, right? A lot of the symbolism in tarot actually derives from the Bible. So the tower card from the Bible is the story of Nimrod, and he's like a person who was like building a tower, and the tower was like so high, so big, that it was like reaching the heavens. Now, ideally, towers were made for prayer. So you can go in, commune with God, get your downloads, you know what I mean? And pretty much, be absorbed in one frame of thought. And that thought being towards worshiping God. But there was like a suspicion that Nimrod was trying to build the tower to usurp God. And so this tower card in the tarot is actually a biblical card that represents the Tower of Babel, which was the story that I just told about that. So with this tower card coming in hopes and fears, to me, this is like a fear of you changing your mind, or like a sudden, almost like a sudden realization, right? Because they call it sudden realization, but I'm literally getting sudden realization that the way that you thought about life may be a little off, and maybe there's you fearing a little bit of change when it comes to accepting something new that challenges your way of being, and maybe adds a lot of pressure on you from that perspective, right? But I feel like there's like a situation, could be an argument, because it's tower clarified by the 9 of wands. The 9 of wands is like somebody that's getting drugged through the mud, like bruised, emotionally battered, physically, whatever. But maybe this is like a feeling of like her going through a humbling, right? I know people have that verse, emotions, about black women being humbled, but we all have that moment, right? Especially those called by God. That's off top. But I feel like this tower and this 9 of wands is a humbling. Maybe there was like an argument, or there will be an argument, and she feels unable to defend herself, or she's not able to defend herself because whatever came out during this argument shocked her, hurt her bad, or something shocked her, and she was like defenseless, like she didn't have no argument for it, you know what I mean, or she didn't have any way out of it. It's like a something that was unavoidable, but it almost came because the foundation is not steady. And I feel like it's almost like saying the cracks in your foundation have been bruising you more than anything that we've ever done, whoever these people are. Could be up to 8 family members, but it's almost like Miss Betty has been taking like stumbles and getting knocked up. I say knocked between the washer and dryer, getting, hit by life in these things. But it was her tripping on the cracks of her own foundation, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Because she hasn't been on solid ground within herself. Her tripping over, like how you say, step on a crack, breaking my back. Her tripping over the craters in her own foundation have led to her getting bruised. Ego bruised. Could be ego. Tower can represent ego. Ego bruises. But it's an ego bruise after like somebody said some shocking shit to you that you felt like you was above hearing, or definitely above people feeling like they could say to you. But it hit you in a way, you know what I mean? But honestly, I don't see arrogance. I don't see things like that. I see stoicism, is that how they say it? But I don't see nobody who's running around with like a callous attitude towards other. But I do see somebody that may be locked in a sense of pain and loss or lack of emotional support. You know what I mean? And really not really knowing how to get help or ask for help in certain situations, right? Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Now, the Five of Wands is here in reverse. This is infighting. You know what I mean? This is infighting. Or a long period of fighting, but now you're kind of like getting yourself back together, getting back on track. And this is her through the odds of maybe spiritual warfare even prevailing. This is her dominating others around her, not because she was shocked that they were challenging her, and not because they said things that bruised her or bruised her ego, but because she is that girl. You know what I mean? That's what she is. You know what I mean? And when you are that way, sometimes people try to trick you out of the position by making you feel like you've assaulted them, accosted them, or abused them, but really they just want your spot. And her mom is showing as a dominant energy. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not going to say she doesn't get discouraged. She does. I'm not going to say that she doesn't lose touch with reality. She does, because again, she suffered a certain amount of loss. She has that impoverished mentality. She has her own internal things, maybe hoarding, selfishness, I don't know. She has her own internal things that work against her. Don't get me wrong. And maybe there's times where she's not realistic. Stormy is realistic though, and that's why that's her ace boon coon, or her daughter, or her soulmate. I don't believe you maintain mother-daughter relationship forever. I believe at some point you're going to be kindred spirits, soulmates, or you're going to be honest with each other and go your certain separate ways and say, okay, you're not my type of person. Whether that's a mother, a sister, a friend, at some point you're going to figure out that that's not your type of person. You know what I mean? But I do feel like she went through a stage where maybe she was emotional about some things, and like I said, with those emotions being bottled inside, maybe that's a lot. Maybe it led to her being childish, maybe, or negative. I should say it that way, or withdrawing. There's times where she's maybe been too lazy to fight it out, too lazy emotionally, right? Because just because people are running a mile a minute getting things done in life doesn't mean that they are applying that same energy towards themselves as far as internally ironing out what the hell is going on, right? So there's emotional laziness as well. But I feel like there is a relationship that she's being called to mend, or maybe is having some type of negative impact on her life, but she's still not fully expressing how she feels about somebody, and she's like keeping it to herself, right? Especially with this Four of Pentacles here and this Knight of Cups. This is her keeping her feelings to herself. You know what I mean? I wonder why though. Maybe somebody went off on her, because there is shock here and her feeling bruised and battered. Like I said, I feel like that's her own inner mentality, but maybe she was told, maybe she's just gonna keep her mouth shut about something, you know what I mean? Or somebody told her about herself, and that's the decision that she made. I don't know, but that's what's coming out in the outcome. But anyway, so let me know what you guys think of the reading. Tarot could be 3 to 6 months in the past or the future, or way in the past or way in the future. I know somebody had told me something about Martell's court situation. I'm only looking at things through the eyes of the tarot, but I do believe some of that came out in the court reading that we did on them back in, was it April? I want to say April, but I'm not sure, when we did that tarot reading. But they hadn't gone to court. But a lot of the stuff in that reading, I think it was a reading about you can keep the kids, I'm moving on, something like that, where it talked about like him not doing what he's supposed to do and losing the kids or walking away or something. I don't know, but I just thought like, wow, like that's crazy. Like a lot of my tarot readings are coming to pass in like abstract ways, you know what I mean? Because context is everything. And I did learn in the comments section that a lot of you guys were not given the proper context. And that's why I'm not going to interact in the comments as much, because I want to keep the tarot cards pure. I'm not going to even try to connect the dots, because I think it's contaminating the reading, me listening to people's one-sided narratives. And so I want to correct that, because that's not what the tarot is for. Anyways, that's our first installment of the Real Moms of Love and Marriage Huntsville, about Miss Betty Steele. Let me know what you guys think of the reading. Check me out on the Inner Alchemist at Etsy. And listen, I'm about to post my Inner Child Healing Bundle. I want you guys to grab one. I'm only going to have maybe 20, or I don't know if I'm going to do 40, 20 or 30 or 40. I don't know. Available. And I want you guys to get one. I think it is so cute and so amazing, right? So like this video, subscribe to the channel, and guess what? I'll see you on the next one.